On any new gas model 2024 Highlander or low APR financing up to 72 months on remaining 23 Highlanders, plus 2 years no-cost maintenance. Change is coming. Save now on Highlander. Toyota. Let's go places.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sarah Blakely. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, another election day is coming up tomorrow. We'll tell you some of the decisions being made across Marquette County and where you can find what's on your ballot. Plus, Michigan's Secretary of State explains why she's glad new election security bills are making their way through the legislature and how it'll impact tomorrow's elections. And the clock is ticking once again for Congress to sign off on a budget. We're live in Washington with what's included and what lawmakers are butting heads over. Your 19 News starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 6.
A chilly and drizzly day, Ariane. I always get worried this time of year that the rain is going to turn into ice. Are we expecting to drop temperatures that low tonight?
Yeah, but I think we're going to see those temperatures that low later on in the evening, basically overnight. But as Sarah mentioned, it could be icy out there this evening, and then we have chances of ice in the morning as well. Taking a look at our headlines, like we just talked about ice, and then we have lake effect. We're going to go from rain to a mix, back to snow, back to rain. Just be expecting all those kind of conditions, as well as freezing drizzle, or as I like to call it, frizzle. I've got your full forecast after the break.
Tomorrow is election day, and a few UP communities will decide on some important issues. In Marquette County, Gwinn Area Community Schools has a bond proposal for $45.5 million for creating a consolidated campus and facility upgrades. Michigami Township has an operating millage renewal request for 2 mills over 6 years. There are also local city and township races in multiple municipalities across the whole UP.
It's an off year. We have to remember that these are your local races that count. These make a big impact on your communities, so make sure that you go out there and get your voices heard, and definitely take the time to vote tomorrow.
Coming up tonight at 11:10 Central, hear from the new Gwinn Area Community School Superintendent about what the bond proposal would mean for students and faculty if it's accepted and passed tomorrow. Don't forget, you can look up what's on your ballot at michigan.gov/vote. Early voting for tomorrow's election has already begun. In Lansing, lawmakers have been passing legislation alongside Proposal 2 bills that aim to make the election process safer, easier, and more secure. With early voting pilot program starting this year, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says there are a number of other new laws she's happy to see passed ahead of Election Day. She says the new legislation will make elections easier for absentee voters and for newly registered voters, as well as making in-person voting safer for poll workers. Coming up tonight at 11:10 Central, we'll have a rundown from the Secretary of State on what these new bills do ahead of tomorrow's election. Victims of domestic and sexual violence now have new tools to help bring perpetrators to justice, thanks to a new set of bills signed by Governor Whitmer today. Whitmer signed the Crime Victims' Rights Bills in Detroit. The bipartisan bills are aimed at increasing access to support services for victims, adding privacy protections, and allowing impact statements to be given virtually.
We have worked with survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. I understand the pain and trauma that these crimes can have. I'm confident that this package will ease some of that burden while ensuring that justice is served for those who commit these crimes.
Those laws go into effect immediately. In Washington, time is running out for Congress to agree on a budget. Members have until mid-November to pass spending bills to avert a government shutdown. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp joins us live from the U.S. Capitol on this. Rachel, good evening. How are these spending bills moving along at the Capitol?
Good evening, Sarah. So the House and Senate, they are both working on these spending bills, and they're taking different approaches on these bills. But right now, members aren't feeling too confident that they will be able to meet that mid-November deadline because, Sarah, as you can recall, just for a few weeks, the House was paralyzed. They were unable to move forward with legislative business because there was no Speaker of the House. And so some members feel like there was a lot of time lost. So again, some of them are not feeling too confident that Congress will finalize this before that mid-November deadline. Now, members avoided a government shutdown just before October by passing a continuing resolution. It's not a final solution, but it keeps the lights on through November 17th. Congress has a dozen spending bills that they need to pass before that deadline. The House and Senate have passed a couple of their own versions for some of these bills. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson told Fox News over the weekend their first priority is to keep the government funded. The Speaker added if November 17th comes around and they are unable to finish their work, they'll look at another stopgap measure. But if you can recall, Sarah, that was one of the triggers that ultimately led to now former Speaker Kevin McCarthy's removal as Speaker. One House Republican brought up the motion to vacate the speakership because he thought McCarthy was weak during negotiations for these spending bills, including passing that continuing resolution. McCarthy needed some Democratic votes to pass that resolution through, which really kind of upset just a handful of these House Republicans. So, Sarah, we're going to have to keep our eyes and ears on these spending bills, especially over in the House, to see how they progress. Sarah, back to you.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump was on the stand today in New York City to testify in the civil trial that alleges Trump and his companies inflated their assets in fraudulent financial statements. The civil trial started last month after a New York judge found Trump and his co-defendants liable for, quote, persistent and repeated fraud. Experts say Trump could be forced to pay hefty fines if he's found liable. The New York Attorney General is also seeking to ban Trump from doing business in New York and wants to dissolve his companies there. But as far as his bid for the presidency, some believe this trial can only help Trump. Analysts say it's important to look at how voters feel about Trump's civil cases when compared to the criminal ones, and that whichever case is front and center next year could have the biggest impact on the election.
When we asked about the civil trials, particularly the one with the payoff to Stormy Daniels, people were more likely to say it was politicized. But then when we asked them about the January 6th trial and the trial in Georgia on the election fraud, people were less likely to say. So what really could come to bear here is whether or not which of these trials is in the public mind when we get to next year.
New polls from the New York Times and Siena College found President Biden is trailing Trump by 4 to 10% in 5 out of 6 key swing states, including Michigan. Your first warning weather forecast is coming up after this break. Plus, Jim Koski's in the studio for Life in the 906. He's pointing out some of the interesting and sometimes kind of ironic responses Yoopers had to the first snowfall of the season. And later, a look back at a successful second annual UP Ice Fishing and Hunting Expo. We'll introduce you to some of the vendors. We're back in 2 minutes.
"19 News is brought to you by Dan Perkins Construction.
When you put on a product this nice, you want to sing it from the rooftops. You know my roof's good looking, will last the rest of your life. Each day I go to work thinking, you know we're doing this right. Buy a roof for me and I think you'll see you'll be happy as a gherkin. 'Cause we do it right and we're really polite. Take it from me, Dan Perkins. You try rhyming something with Perkins.
Buckles Party Store. It's where the party starts in Calumet with an awesome beer selection featuring domestic, foreign, and craft brew beer, a great selection of wine, just about any kind of liquor you want, and a great range of tobacco products. Buckles Party Store in Calumet. It's where the party starts for everyone.
John's Auto has reboot. And it's still John's Auto, which means great clean cars and great service. Come see for yourself. John's Auto Marquette.
The UP helps those in need. I'm Ariane Stasek. WZMQ 19 is teaming with Goodwill to keep that winter chill away. And you can be part of Operation Warm Up. Bring new or gently used hats, coats, mittens, gloves, and scarves to the Goodwill stores. These clothing items will be given to neighbors in need. Check WZMQ19.com for more information, and thank you for supporting Operation Warm Up.
Perry Mason is the perfect entertainment for day and night. During the day, it's a great juicy courtroom drama.
You killed Polly first to get rid of her.
And at night, it's a perfect spooky murder mystery. It's Perry Mason.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. and 11:30 p.m. on MeTV 19.1.
The Upper Peninsula's home for the talk, WZMQ 19.
Now, WZMQ 19 News First Warning Weather with Ariane Stasek.
I hope you enjoyed those temperatures that we saw today, a high of 49. Check out that record low back in 91, 6 single digits. We will be seeing those not this week, but we are going to be chilling out a little bit. Right now, those temperatures in the 40s. We do have some precipitation over a lot of the UP, and those lows tonight, we'll expect them to drop down into the 30s. Although don't be surprised if we see some mid to upper 20s, especially overnight into the early hours of tomorrow. Remember, we could also be expecting some icy conditions, sidewalks, roads, things that are not getting any kind of treatment for those conditions as it is, you know, the end of fall, beginning of winter. We could also see some flurries tomorrow as well. And then tomorrow evening, a mix of all kinds of fun stuff. Rain showers possible, freezing rain, snow showers, and what else am I forgetting here? Anyway, precipitation. The winds coming out of the west, primarily that northwest wind. We're going to see this switch direction here later on in the next couple of days. About 27 miles an hour, though, on our evening here in Marquette. Taking a look at the morning, a little bit of changes direction as those winds start to come from the east, and then there it is by Tuesday evening. We'll expect more gusts in the east. Heads up for Manistee, you could see wind speeds up to 30 miles an hour tomorrow evening. So gusty winds as we've got a clipper system that is settling in, and that can also bring precipitation. As we take a look closer to the UP, we've got some of these mixes already going on in Baraga and Ontonagon as well as Houghton counties, and we'll expect that to continue into tomorrow. As we take a look at the radar current conditions, most of the precipitation focused in these central counties, but it will be heading eastward. Let's take a look at Futurecast and what's happening for tomorrow. Like I said, some snow showers possible, especially along that Keweenaw Peninsula, even into the evening hours, and then we'll expect those in the morning, just a little bit of snow showers, maybe 20% chance of that before things kind of die out by lunchtime, maybe seeing the sun there on the east half. And then another round moving in on Tuesday evening around 11 p.m. on the nose there and along that Wisconsin border. And then we're expecting heavier snow showers possible on our Wednesday. The south half, you're going to see more likely rain showers moving in on your Wednesday. And then we'll expect mostly cloudy skies for that evening. So how much snow? Not a whole lot tonight, mostly a dusting. And that will be the case for the morning. But Tuesday evening, we could see those numbers creeping up, especially later in the evening into our Wednesday morning and the Wednesday afternoon as well as the evening, maybe up to 6 inches there in the Sioux by the end of our Tuesday. Our 7-day outlook for Marquette. We've talked about these wintry mixes. We've got Election Day tomorrow and those temperatures still staying very cool. Also Veterans Day on Saturday, looking like mostly cloudy skies.
Our 19 News Insights is on the way next. We're learning about some leadership changes within the Michigan State Police, including here in the UP. That conversation is 2 minutes away.
Tonight, how the U.S. is asking Israel to change its tactics in order to save civilian lives in Gaza. Then, what happened when Donald Trump took the stand in his financial fraud trial? And one company's solution to keep clothing out of landfills for good on the CBS Evening News.
Since the 15th century, Antwerp, Belgium has been the city for diamonds. Erickson Jewelers is going overseas to this diamond capital soon to handpick directly from a sparkling selection unlike any in the world. Tell us what you're looking for and we'll use our connections to personally find it in Antwerp's famous diamond district. This is a special opportunity that allows us to negotiate the best options and value for you. Find out how Erickson Jewelers can bring home your one-of-a-kind Antwerp diamond.
Funerals can easily cost $9,000 or more, but government benefits pay only $255. If you're between 40 and 85, get your free Funeral Advantage Guide. Help keep your family financially protected with up to $20,000 cash immediately.
It's so easy. Just answer a few simple health questions.
Funeral Advantage is something we'll all need. There's no risk or obligation.
Call 800-845-5191.
Meet Mike Baxter, pioneer.
Dad, how do you kill an elk?
Wait outside the lodge until last call, then hit it with a tire iron.
Frontiersman.
And pheasant hunting is ridiculous. All the running and the chasing and the fetching.
That's what the dog's for.
But Maddie did such a good job. Who's a good girl?
Legend.
I have a 60-year-old truck and a 30-year-old marriage. You should be happy that I am stuck in my old ways.
I do love that truck.
No wonder he's the last man standing.
Major Seth Adams, the loudest voice in the West, heard from practically anywhere.
Sounded to me like it come off the Ponderosa.
Weekdays at 4 on MeTV 19.1. You're watching the award-winning WZMQ 19 News, live and local with Sarah Blakely.
Tonight on Insights, we're learning more about some leadership changes within the Michigan State Police. Joining us tonight is Lieutenant Mark Chinunzio. Thanks for coming in, Mark.
Glad to be here, as usual.
Yes, of course. So tell us about the new MSP director.
Yeah, so Colonel James Grady just started here last month, maybe 6 weeks ago. He replaces Colonel Joe Gasper, who was there for quite some time. So not a huge change so far for the department. The direction is pretty much the same. I think every director that we're going to have is going to be focused on the troopers, making sure that they have all the equipment and the training that they need to make sure that they're serving the public as best they can.
Yeah, what exactly is that role of the director? That's a big job. There's a lot of troopers across the state.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's about 3,500 members of the state police, half of which are probably uniformed members, the other half are support services. But I think that position, the colonel, is more of, they have to deal with a lot of the political stuff down there on the cabinet with the governor. They're always with the legislatures, but they're pretty much, their focus is the troopers, to make sure that all forms of leadership, all the way down to the troopers, is getting our frontline employees what they need to do the job.
Gotcha. And we also have a new 8th District Commander, Captain Darren Green, who also just started a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's probably actually been in for a couple months now up here. He is from Lansing. He was the post commander at the Lansing Post, so he has some good leadership experience behind him. He was also a public information officer for a couple of years on there. So yeah, he knows me very well. So,
awesome.
And he's very supportive of this role. He knows that it's important for everybody to communicate well with the media and the people out on the streets.
We like that.
Yeah, we do. I love it too. So his direction too is very similar to the colonel. He wants to make sure that as leaders in the department, we're getting our troopers what they need to do their job up here in the Upper Peninsula, and that they're communicating well, they're serving the role of public servants. So, great direction.
What are some of the things that they want to focus on going forward?
So, there's a big push on recruiting right now. We are constantly hiring. We've been for several years, and that is just further looking at maybe 2-3 years down the road, we're going to lose probably 300 or 400 people to retirement that are coming up eligible. I'm being one of them.
Yes. So you didn't know already.
They have to backfill a lot of these positions, and it is hard to find good qualified applicants to become troopers right now. So we are constantly pushing for good people to want to fill the ranks.
Yeah. What? How common is this for these leadership changes? Is this something that the people of Michigan should be like, oh, is something happening, or this is just pretty normal?
I think it's pretty normal. I think at the colonel level, those positions, historically, at least in my 25 years, probably have gone through 5 or 6 different colonels. So, what is that? Every 5 or 6 years, we're getting a new colonel. A lot of times, if the governor changes, the colonel will change with that person as well.
Right.
As far as the captains, I've probably gone through the same amount of captains up here in the 8th District.
Right.
So people move on to different positions, or they retire, or transfer out, stuff like that. So it's common.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where can people find more information about these new leaders and just what their focus is going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Michigan.gov/MSP, and you can see all about our hierarchy and the leadership positions in the department.
Cool. And also, when is the next recruiting school coming up if people are saying, I want to be a trooper?
Well, so we have one starting in January. That one's pretty much full. If you want to apply for that one, it's probably hard to get in that one, but we'll have another one in May and then scheduled for June. So we're going to do a lateral recruit school, which means if you're already a police officer, you can come over and do a modified recruit school. That will be in May, and then I believe that in June or July there'll be another recruit school. It may even get pushed up to spring depending on how many applicants we have. So yeah, we'd love to have people apply.
Cool. Well, Mark, thank you so much for sharing tonight. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
Still ahead tonight, Life in the 906. Jim Koski is sharing his thoughts about how Yoopers tend to react to the first snowfall of the season and how that tends to develop as we go through the winter. And later, we'll introduce you to some of the vendors that were at this weekend's second annual UP Ice Fishing and Hunting Expo in Escanaba. But first, here's your Yoopers United volunteer opportunity of the day. The Trillium House in Marquette, a hospice and short-term care facility, is looking for an office support volunteer. This person will manage the reception desk. It's an ongoing need Fridays through Mondays from noon to 4 p.m. To sign up to be a volunteer for this or check out other volunteer opportunities, just head on over to youpersunited.com.
Coming up on the CBS Evening News, an American company up for a Global Innovation Prize given by Prince William. Wait to hear about the business trying to recycle clothes and at the same time reduce greenhouse gas emissions and global warming. That and more news tonight on the CBS Evening News.
News CBS 4. First nuclear-powered warship in Sydney Harbour in over 40 years. That's why a public display of unity is essential.
He's radioactive. What if this is bigger than we're imagining?
One way to find out.
They'll be dead by the time we get there.
We gotta get out of here.
NCIS Sydney new series premieres Tuesday, November 14th on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Shop hundreds of lazy boys at Kirkish Furniture in Houghton. Kick back in comfort in an industry-leading recliner. Choose from all fabrics, colors, and sizes with prices starting as low as $4.99 plus free delivery. Shop Kirkish Furniture in Houghton today.
Hi friends, Richard Karn here. Now I'm known as the guy who can fix just about anything, but the technology in most appliances requires very special training to fix. And that's why my family has Choice Home Warranty.
Choice Home Warranty covers over 25 major home systems and appliances. That's your AC, heating, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and so much more.
Imagine for less than a cup of coffee a day, Choice Home Warranty can help protect you from expensive major system and appliance breakdowns that your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover.
Call Choice Home Warranty now and get access to a nationwide network of over 15,000 technicians and the latest appointment setting technology so you'll know when they're on their way.
So, do what this old DIYer did and call Choice Home Warranty now before something breaks down.
Get protection for your heating, AC, plumbing, kitchen and laundry appliances, and more. Call for your free quote today. Call in the next 5 minutes and get your first month free. 800-418-1754. 800-418-1754.
Those were the days.
Here's to yesterday.
Sundays on MeTV 19.1.
Let's reflect on our life in the 906. And Jim, it may be raining today, but winter is right on our doorstep any day now, maybe Wednesday.
You never know. And you know, there's something I noticed following last week's snow. The reactions that people have to the first snow of the year are markedly different than the ones they have as winter wears on. Now, I've had a crack team of researchers on this, and we've determined that there are 5 types of reactions Yoopers have to snow. And they're chronological, starting with, look everyone, it's snowing! When the first few flakes hit the ground, and every single person in Upper Michigan has to post a picture of the snow on social media just to know that every other single person knows it's snowing out. That's followed by, it's so pretty. This is a reaction that even people who loathe snow have, but there is one caveat to this. It only lasts for a 2-week period around the holidays. That's it. Now, we can get through those 2 just fine. It's what comes after when the snow starts to hit the fan. And that begins with, the apocalypse is nigh. This is how you feel when you don't see the sun for 3 weeks and your outdoor thermometer has forgotten that temperatures can get into double digits. This also causes older people to start reminiscing about how when they were young, they walked to school through this type of weather each and every day, uphill, both ways, in the dark, blindfolded. Now that's followed in very short order by, what the bloody what? This reaction comes during a multi-day storm where snowfall is measured in feet instead of inches. You can't drive anywhere, and as soon as you finish blowing the snow from your driveway, it's so covered up with new snow that you have to start all over again. So you just go inside and drink a lot of beer instead. Finally, there's, why do we live here? This is when winter stretches into March and then April with no signs of giving up. It can drive even the hardiest of youpers to look out their front window and start sobbing, please just make it stop. And that's not even taking into consideration the fact that it might snow in May as well. We've now seen snow for the first time this season, and as Ariane said, it certainly won't be the last. So, hope you're ready. I'm Jim Koski, and that's another slice of life in the 906.
You know, it wasn't that long ago. Remember when it snowed like 2 feet on May 1st this year?
2 days of school clothing, and everyone just standing out there going, why?
Yes.
Why us?
Yes, but you know the rice paddy was open.
Of course it was. It certainly was.
Thank you very much, Jim. Well, speaking of winter weather, over the weekend, the second annual UP Ice Fishing and Hunting Expo took over the Ruth Butler Building at the UP State Fairgrounds. WZMQ's Escanaba Bureau reporter Lily Simmons takes us there to meet some of the vendors, from industry leaders to newcomers.
The Daily Press UP Ice Fishing and Hunting Expo featured something for every outdoorsman and woman, from fishing lures and poles to guns and knives.
Our show is special because it's geared towards everybody who lives here. I don't think there's too many families out there that you don't ask, what did you do during November and February, hunting and fishing.
55 vendors showed off their gear for the season, including L&M Fleet Supply.
This year we're really showcasing our new Eskimos, especially the electric and the composites, all our lines of ice houses, and a great line of hunting apparel.
L&M's Marquette management crew says the expo was also a great opportunity to connect with their community.
Just having fun with everyone, showing what we have to offer as a family-based employer. It's all about family, and all these vendors are family, and we like to give back to the community with what we have.
For 14-year-old Blake Lakoski of Blake's Baits, this expo was his first.
When I was about 10 years old, there was a lure building workshop. A guy from Munising took me under his wing. I started off just in our basement, just doing a few batches at a time. Now I'm at a lot bigger scale than before.
Lakoski says the expo helped him not only reach new customers, but also new business partners.
L&M Fleet said they'd want me in Marquette at their new location, and a few people from downstate could get me in some stores. It's just been a good experience.
Attendance increased by about 800 people from last year's UP Ice Fishing and Hunting Expo. Looking ahead to next year, organizers hope to make it even bigger and better, especially for the next generation of ice fishers and hunters.
We're looking to add quite a few more interactive games for kids, a seminar or two to get them involved. We live in the great UP. What is better than going out your back door and going hunting, or going down to the river and throwing a line in?
Lily Simmons, WZMQ 19 News, Escanaba.
We're dropping temperatures tonight and could see some wintry mix all along the Lake Superior shoreline. Ariane has the outlook on the way.
Bucko's Party Store, where the party starts. They're your party store and more in Calumet. They have a great selection of snacks, frozen food, craft beers, top shelf liquor, and disposable vapes. When the winter chill gets to you, keep warm and in style with Keweenaw alpaca gear.
Save your bucks at Bucko's!
Bucko's Party Store, open 7 days a week from 8:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. on 5th Street in Calumet.
At this point in the game, all bets are off, tension is high. One of the toughest challenges we do on Survivor.
Absolutely brutal.
There is a twist tonight.
Oh, what?
2 people will be safe. 2 people will be going home.
Oh my God.
What? It hurts the minute you start.
This is a real do or die moment.
A new Survivor followed by a new amazing race Wednesday on CBS and streaming on Paramount+.
Need to get from point A to point B quickly, efficiently, safely? The Marquette County Transit Authority is your ticket to ride. Friendly drivers operate clean, blue and white buses throughout Marquette County 365 days a year. Seniors 60 plus ride free every Wednesday. For information about routes and tickets, click on marktran.com. We keep you moving. Marquette Transit.
When 2 celebrity-led teams
What is this?
face off
It's a Harley-drawn swan.
in a game of quick draw,
1, 2, 3, shoot!
it's fast-paced family fun for all. Pictionary.
every weekday. Pictionary, weekdays at 9 on WZMQ CBS.
This is home for CBS, WZMQ 19.
Right now, our temperatures are in the 40s, although we are seeing some 30s, especially along that northwest coast, 37 up there in Houghton. And we'll expect the lows pretty much in that 30-degree range, although we could see some upper 20s in the early hours of our Tuesday morning. Dress those kids nice and warm. It is going to be a chilly one all day. Those highs tomorrow are going to definitely not feel like highs. Looking at our voting outlook here, we'll expect temperatures in the 35 range.
That's all the time we have for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here tonight at 11:10 Central.